Hey Scorpio, welcome to your reading for the week of the 1st of February till the 9th of February. So happy Lunar New Year. We are in a new lunar cycle. So I figured this is a great way to start. And we're in a new moon, new lunar cycle. And yeah, excited. So I'm hoping to do weekly readings this year. As well as monthly, so please subscribe to my channel to stay up to date. Free cards here, let me see. That one. Okay, they're all in order. Okay. And I'm using 2 decks today, which I have just meshed them together, so that's not good. 2 decks. I'm using the Queen of the Moon Oracle and also Moonology Oracle. I felt that with it being all about the lunar, we would use lunar cards. So let's have a look what's in store for you this year. So we start with the masculine. Now this first card is, I can't put my cards anywhere, I swear. I've just started for the day recording. I'm not quite in the zone. Okay, the masculine. I love this. So this, yeah, that's what I was saying. This place is basically you, the energy that you're in right now. The fact that it's in the masculine, I feel it's because we have a lot of intense energy right now. So this makes complete sense. But the masculine means in a way that you are very dominant right now. Maybe in your zone, like feeling in the energy, feeling protective, feeling hardworking. So it's a good energy to be in if it's not in excess. I do feel like it's actually a good thing if you are around people where they need kind of rallying about a little bit more support. You can be very supportive, but it may be, again, if you are in excess, because again, intense energy right now, a little bit too dominating and less kind and nurturing if you are allowing yourself to kind of be in this I don't give a fuck kind of energy. So just be aware of that if you're being a little bit too intense, and understand I kind of, what popped into my head is like you may be dealing with someone that's like heightened emotionally at the moment, and they may need a little bit more nurturing, and you might appear cold to them because just during the energy that they're in, I guess. So just be wary of that you might be offending people without meaning to, but at the same time, some people do need a little bit of tough love, but it's just being conscious of your energy in that, and it not also burning you out, because being in heightened masculinity, you are not balanced in this. So I don't feel like this is a big message that I need to be saying to you, Scorpio. So this is not for everybody. It's just for some people who are maybe, again, if you are also heightened emotional, because again, it is a time where we are all heightened, then it may be that you're being a little bit too dominant in a way that you need to balance out the feminine, because we all have masculine and feminine. But as a whole, this card is actually giving me good, sexy man vibes, because I mean, look at him. But it's just giving me that, you know, you are in that energy, you're powerful, you're being that leader. That is good. The fact that the next card is surrender does indicate that there is this sense of you needing to soften a little bit. Now surrender is kind of just understanding that sometimes energy is there to support us, but sometimes it can hinder us if we are not aware of the energies we're working with, right? You are here, so I'm helping you to decipher what you're feeling or why you're feeling it, I guess. This is sort of saying, like, you can't control everything, and we can't control the outcomes of what other people's decisions are creating for us, right? So sometimes we have to surrender and observe and watch, and that's sometimes the best plan of action. Now remember, if you're in your leadership energy, leaders are not dictators. Yes, we have dictators leaderships, but that's not a true authentic leader at the essence of the energy. A leader delegates. A leader knows what's best for the people, for their family. A leader knows when to step down or when to step up. And this is what I do feel like you're in that energy to be very good at that, providing that you're not, again, being destructive and choosing to actually be constructive. So I feel like it is a time to observe those around you and see where you can be of help with that, because I feel again you're coming through in a very strong position, that you could be really beneficial to those around you, communities, friends, family, loved ones. And again, if you are dealing with someone who is emotional, for some reason I'm getting like someone being hormonal in your life, and what they need is a little bit of sensitivity. So that's why I feel like the masculine could be a good thing, because you're directing and leading and taking that step up that maybe before usually you would step down because they might have more of a leadership role within your dynamic. I feel like this could be within relationships with the feel of the energy, but not limited to. And maybe they're going through a time where they are more hormonally imbalanced, or maybe going through a grieving or something like this, and it's time for you to kind of step up and just be the nurturing one, but also directing, making the decisions. As a woman, sometimes when we are very hormonal, we just don't want to make decisions, and when we're asked to make decisions or we're forced to make decisions because we're in situations where there's just no choice, we've got to make decisions, we're the adult of the family, etc., etc. We just don't want to, and then everyone's like asking you, and you get snappy, irritable. This is the energy I'm feeling could be around you, for you to step away from that, be a bit more objective, maybe a bit more kinder, but also just make the freaking decisions. If you're a man, make a decision. No offense to the men who are watching. Just going on from being a woman who can obviously go through cycles and things, it is sometimes you just don't want to have to make all the decisions all the time, especially when you're in your vulnerable state. And that goes to anybody who is feeling vulnerable. You just don't want to make decisions when you're in that time. I know we have to. We live in a world where we're adults, you have to make choices. But sometimes having somebody by your side who can make them for you is a blessing. Next we have the void. So definitely I'm getting a lot of emotions. The void, I feel like, can represent depression. So if you are suffering, again, if it is because a partner or something is going through this, I feel like I just have to say this, it can bring you down too. Again, if you're being snapped at all the time, it can make you feel despair, especially if it's your person, or a parent, or just people you really care about, bringing you down or bringing themselves down. Seeing someone in a vulnerable state, it can bring you down. Acknowledging by surrendering and witnessing and observing instead of being so in it. I feel like being objective is a good thing. And actually, I just glanced at the card next to it is assessing. So this is exactly it. I'll kind of read these together. Assessing is about observing. Assessing, not obsessing. I don't know if I said that. It's about observing. She is there with a telescope and she's just watching. She's floating in the air. She's not on the ground involved, in battle. She's up in the air in an air balloon. She's literally, her dress is an air balloon in this. She's looking out of a telescope. It's about looking at something from a different perspective, in order to see the full picture. Like sometimes when we're that in it, especially with someone snapping us, we take it so personally that it becomes like our issue. Potentially sometimes people are going through things that is not our issue. The fact that they've just come into our space and our energy and disrupted it can make us feel as though we're the one under attack. And I think sometimes if we take a step back, a good example of this for me, my daughter is very sensitive, and so last year she really struggled with different dynamics. We had different dynamics with her dad, going to her dad's and things, and they do things differently to how I do, and just her struggling with the school dynamic of different routines and different rules as well. So she's very sensitive to things, and then so even when friends would say things to her, she takes offense to it, even though they might be joking, playing, or just not meaning it. I was trying to teach her how sometimes people say things but they don't mean it, and it's a really hard thing to work with because you don't want her to be like a pushover who just lets people say things to her and then her not take it. So it was a hard dynamic. But what I'm trying to get like in this is that she takes so much offense to what other people are saying, and I had to sort of show her, for example, like other people are going through hard times, so they might need you, like you need to put your shoes on. So when mummy is telling you, come on, we need to get out of the house, you got to put your shoes on, but you're there faffing about trying to go, oh, I need this, I've got this in my bag, and saying your bag routine like 10 times and you're not putting your shoes on, mummy's going to get annoyed at you and say, get your freaking shoes on, and be mad at you. But I'm not mad at you, but my job is to get you out of the house, to get you to school. So that's the same with other people. Sometimes we have jobs like teachers are not mad at you, but you're not listening because you're talking to your friends, so they're going to tell you off. They're going to have different rules than what you have at home, and it's different things like this. I hope that made sense. I kind of went off on I don't know where I was going with that for a second. But what I'm saying is, like, so getting her to look more objectively at who is saying what they're saying. So if it is just someone being mean, because it's just normal every day. But if someone's just trying to tell you to do something and you're not listening and you're getting told off for it, that's not them being mean. It's them just doing their job to try and get you to do one thing that they're meant to be doing. and it's focusing on that. So sometimes, again, especially relationships, we're snapping at each other. Your wife or your husband is saying like, I need you to do this, can you do this for me? And you're like, I'm already doing this. And you're both snapping at each other. You're both ruining each other's day because you're moody at each other, when objectively you're just doing your one role, or 50 million roles depending. You know what I mean? And if you look objectively at it, we're both doing two different things, trying to make each other do the same thing. There's going to be those clashes. And I think that this is saying, to look at that and realize that, are your bad feelings really bad feelings because of your life, and is it actually actively a situation where you're in this dark space, or is it just because of the dark spaces other people are in is just bringing you down as well? Because I really feel that that's a big impact here for you, Scorpio. I am going to go back to that though, because there's kind of more of a different perspective, but that's the main one I'm getting at that top column that's really coming through, is the impact of others and how we can be in that space. And definitely looking at the situation objectively is helpful. Now, the second part is you being in a bad space. If you do feel like you are in this void, I feel like it's a waiting period. I feel like it's because something is coming. So again, that can make us be in anticipation and feel all the feels, because again, we are in heightened feelings time, so anything that we feel, I feel, is just amplified during this time. So again, look objectively at your situation. If there's a waiting period, then that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to wait, right? And everything will be fine. If you look at it objectively and see, you will see, for example, if you're waiting for something to come in, millions of people wait for things to come in all the time, and it comes in. It might not come when you want it. It comes when it's ready. Okay, things hatch, things are born when they're ready, not when we tell them to, right? Next is in reverse. It wants you to listen. Power. You are definitely manifesting. So whatever energy you are sitting in, it's because of what you are allowing to manifest into your world. Now, I feel like this is something collectively we need to be reminded of, and I've had to say this repetitively through most of the readings I've done this time, which makes sense because of the way the world is looking in certain areas of the world. It is impacting all of our brain space because it's in the media, and that's what we all on the internet are seeing now. And it's acknowledging that the point of this is a collective energy. Again, source, the universe, gods, whatever your belief system is supporting of the energy of the collective, right? So if we are all in a fear, we're all fearful, we're all angry, we're all moody, we're all depressive, we all want to break things, that's the energy it's going to support. We're going to be in this chaos. If we realize that we need to be in our relaxed, non-fight and flight stance, where we are observing, we are being authentically in our space, then that's what we're putting out there, and that is the collective energy that will be supported and guided. So again, being calm is probably the thing that we want to be enticing as a collective, even though that is a difficult thing to be when a lot of things is going on. And again, the energy is amplifying all of these heightened emotions. This is saying, you are in control, you are powerful. This is just, look at the masculine and the power next to each other. It steals my light when I do this, but it's just like, powerful. I would say that this is more feminine. So again, making sure you are in balance of those. We want to be balanced in order to be effective in our worlds. But again, what you are putting out there is what you're creating. So observing and assessing all of that will help guide you in what you're wanting to create this year. But again, you're in this position where you are able to take that leadership role and just change the trajectory in the way that you want, or continue it growing. Next is growth, so that makes sense. The growth card is basically saying that you're really starting to grow and build on a foundation that you've already made prior to this. But also know that things that grow take time. I do get this sense, because this is the second time I'm bringing this up, I get the sense of time being something of importance, as though you've just got to wait and let it grow and nurture into being, and not try to kind of rush something or be anxious and forcing something. It's going to get there when it gets there. But again, it is growing, it's coming into fertility, and that you, again, it's almost here is what I kind of feel like with this for you, Scorpio. And you're ready. You're definitely ready. I'm getting with this card, which I haven't had that when I've read this. This card's come up a lot for everyone at the moment. This is definitely a fertile time, but for you guys, it's like, it's coming, it's ready. So patience, and you just wait and see. Purity. So definitely be kind for yourself. For you, Scorpio, I feel this coming through a lot more with this card. It is a card to me that says dance to the rhythm of your own beat, but for you it's coming through a little bit more of being kind and sensitive, and understand that you are also a vulnerable being. So sometimes if we look at other people, because I feel you're in this powerful energy, we can look at other people with vulnerability as though they are weak and vulnerable, and not realizing that you are also a vulnerable person, and being vulnerable is not a weakness. So be kind with those self-doubts and the thoughts, especially with that void card being actually directly above this one. The void and purity. Purity to me really in essence is that understanding that we're all innocent, we're all pure, and we're all coming from a space of love. And when we understand ourselves from that perspective, like our decisions we make and the things that we do, we can really start to understand and be kind to ourselves, and less of that self-hate, self-doubt, because you are who you are, and it's beautiful, it's powerful, and you only have what you have because you're existing and that you are you, right? So be grateful, be loving, be caring and compassion to the one person that's with you your entire life, and that's yourself. But also understand that you can't fast forward and see what's coming. What is with you right now in the present is what you have and what you need and where you are. So stay in the present and stop trying to rush something, because I'm really getting this need to want to see something, want to know something, want to be something, and you just kind of have to slow down and be in the now, in the present. Enjoy these moments. You only get these moments once. These moments don't come back. This is the only time. Yes, for example, if you're going to be a parent, this is the first time that you're going to feel like this. Even if this is the second time or the third time, however many children you have, it's still the only time you're going to feel this way about it. Have these moments with it. Be in this moment, in this energy, this formula that you are, because if you do it again, you're in a different energy, you're grown, you're more wise, you've been through more things. So this is the moment to appreciate that you are in this moment exactly where you need to be, exactly who you need to be, and to love that, enjoy that. I know it's hard sometimes, and I think that after we go through hardships, we look back and we think, I needed that. And it sucks to say that when you're going through it. But afterwards, and trust me, I'm definitely someone who can vouch for that and to say that to you, which is why I'm saying it. After you go through it and you realize that how much you do learn and grow during that time, you're not just stuck in a space of doing nothing, even if you physically didn't do anything, you still accomplish so much within yourself. That it is actually productive to who you are as a person and to your life in general and to wherever you're going in future. And I feel that's essential to know. We next have new beginnings. So new beginnings are coming. Definitely something coming for you. This whole entire reading, as I'm coming through this, it's building up to something coming. New beginnings is a really great card. It kind of means, favorable outcomes too. Because when we get these new beginnings, it means like a feel of spring to me. Which, depending on which part of the world you are, it is coming up to spring, I guess. Spring is coming. So that makes sense that this might be a time, actually, where you start to see the sprinklings of what you're building. But something good is coming for spring. Interesting. So if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, that is an area that may be beneficial for you, or at least something to work towards if you want a timeline, because I can feel that you want a timeline. Right, Scorpio. But yeah, I do feel as though you're out in the cold at the moment, and potentially as well if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, it's probably cold right now, right? Which again, those low down moods. When I lived in the UK, totally for most part of the year when it is freezing, it's so easy just to be stuck in your ways because it's cold. You don't want to go anywhere, you don't want to do anything, and it really puts that shift on the mood. By living in Australia, I now know that the weather impacts so much because I don't have that cold in the same way. The wind is not going through my clothes. It's not icy as often. Winter does suck here though, because we don't have central heating, which is a blessing for England. But yeah, anyway, moving on. These last 4 cards are just supporting cards of the reading. That's how I'm seeing them in each of the readings I've done so far. So in reverse, all of these are, so it does want you to listen, meditate and contemplate. So you're definitely being asked to slow down and see something, observe. You're not being told to jump into anything, be rash. You are told to take a step back. And again, this is look at things objectively, which I have said to you already. We have it's time to take action. Now, realizing that taking action doesn't mean physically having to force yourself to do something. Taking action can be literally stopping, sitting down, and thinking. That is an action. And I think more of us need to realize that, less of the beating ourselves up when we think we're not doing anything. Because again, especially if you're neurospicy, resting is one of the best plans of action, forces of action, something of action that you can take for yourself. Next, we have a win-win outcome is forecast. So again, this is a reminder of what I'm saying. Something is coming, something good, something is coming to fruition. So everything's going to be okay, right? Next, we have a time to give rather than take. And that is definitely ending this reading with what I started with. It does feel like you have a lot to offer, and it's time for you to take a step back and to, again, be the one that can gift and give, whether it be literally, like I said before, be the one to make the decisions. That is a great gift to give a partner when they're struggling. A great gift to give yourself, to be the one that is making decisions. Because looking at it from the other side, being the less dominant partner, sometimes partnerships shouldn't be 100% domination by one person, but we go through different times, so one person will be more dominant than the other, because again, we're human and we go through cycles and phases and different things in our life. So having to go, if you are normally the one that doesn't make all decisions, or aren't the breadwinner, or are the breadwinner, it may be the time for you to do the opposite as a gift to yourself, and also a gift to your partner. I do think sometimes when there's an imbalance in partnership, the best gifts that you can give each other is changing the dynamic. It can help heal relationships. It can help heal the self. It can also break relationships, and that might be needed, right? So don't fear the things that are going to improve your life, your lifestyle, because these changes, again, if you feel this desire and this impulse and this thing growing inside you, it's always going to grow if you don't make the changes. And it doesn't mean immediately taking yourself away from it always. If it's toxic, if it's dangerous, yes. No, like talking yourself and staying. But if it's not, sometimes just making small changes, one, it will just open the doors to new, right? New is what you want. We need changes in our lives. We're growing. We're not stagnant. We're not staying the same from being bloody into a relationship to the end. If you're not growing together and shifting and changing together, you're not healthy and you're not a good couple. End of story, right? So sometimes making the changes that are needed for happiness, for health, for balance, it might make things go in a negative way, and that shows you exactly what you needed to see. Or, hey, I changed the dynamic and we're both happier and healthier. That's what relationships are supposed to do over time. And any relationship that's lasted 50 years will tell you that you have to grow and change and have compassion. Sometimes you have to submit. Sometimes you have to be more dominant. It's just about going through the phases and changes together and working together and knowing whether or not you are strong enough to do that together. So thank you guys for being here. Please subscribe to my channel to see your weekly and monthly readings, and I hope to share this year with you. Thank you guys.